Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 1 of this multi-part series where I'm going to be teaching you how to program in Java. Let's jump right into it. First of all, you want to open up a browser. In this case I have Google, and you want to search for Java Development Kit. The Java Development Kit is essentially a development environment for building applications using the Java language. And so this kit is going to include tools that are going to be useful for you in developing and testing your programs written in Java, and also running your programs on the Java platform and of course on your machine. And so let's go to the Java downloads right here. And you're going to scroll down, and you're going to see that there are 3 different tabs here, one for Linux, one for Mac OS, and one for Windows. So you're going to have separate downloads depending on the operating system of your machine. And so once you have checked what operating system you have, you're going to go to that tab. In this case, I have Mac OS, so I'm going to go to this tab right here. And you're going to see that there are 2 different versions that you can install. You can install one that's called ARM64, or you can install one called x64. What's going to be different, or the difference between these two, is going to be based on the processor that your machine has. If you have a Mac that has an Intel processor, then you're most likely going to be downloading the x64 installer. If you have a Mac that has one of the newer M1 or M2 chips, you're probably going to be downloading the ARM64 version right here. If you're unsure of what processor your machine has, you can get that information through the system information in your Mac in a tab called About This Mac, or you can also simply Google the type of Mac that you have and Google for the specific processor that Mac supports. And so I'm going to go ahead and just download this. Since it's quite big, I'm going to download it off camera, and then I'll meet you back when I'm done. Okay, so now we're finished downloading. So now we're going to be presented with the following screen right here. You want to open this file right here. And so this is basically just going to guide you through the installation process. It should be pretty straightforward. The installer actually does a good job of just guiding you through every single step of the way. And so we're simply going to click on continue here. It's going to tell us how much space it's going to take in our computer. In this case, 326.2 megabytes. And so just click on install and make sure that you authenticate. And so it's going to do everything automatically for you. And once the install has succeeded, you're good to go. You simply have to click on close, and you can simply move this to the trash. And now we're going to have to download some sort of environment where we can essentially develop our code. There are multiple ones that you can choose from. I recommend either downloading Visual Studio Code. It's great. It's a great program that has it's a great code editor that has multiple code extensions, one of them being for Java. There's another one also called IntelliJ, which is the one that we're going to be using in this video, which is specifically designed to develop in Java. So this is why I recommend it. It also supports other languages as well, Kotlin, Groovy, but we're not going to be touching those in this tutorial. Or the third one that I also recommend is called Sublime Text. Again, just a code editor so that we can develop easier. And it has a lot of different features, autocomplete, coloring, right? So it's easier to look at your code. So just choose your favorite one. And once you have one of these installed, we'll come back and we will create our first Java program. Okay, so now that we've downloaded IntelliJ, I'm going to show you how to set up a new project. So once you open up IntelliJ, you can click here on New Project. And here it's going to ask you for a name of the project. We're going to name it Tutorial, but you can name it whatever you want. It's going to show you the location of where it's going to be stored. In this case, it's going to be stored in a folder called Idea Projects and in the folder called Tutorial. And it's also going to show you the language and the build system that we're going to be using. So just leave these as Java and IntelliJ for now. And it's also going to be showing you the JDK that we downloaded last time. Just double check that this says version 19, which is the version that we downloaded in the previous segment of the video. Now it's also going to show you if you want to add sample code. We're going to leave this unchecked because I want to show you how to build everything from scratch. And so now let's just click on create. Now, once it's finished creating, you're going to be presented with this screen. And so here in this folder, right, called tutorial, this is where we are right now. This is where your project is going to be stored. And so you're going to see that there are multiple folders here. This first folder here for .idea is just simply files that that IntelliJ needs in order to do some of its features. You're not going to need to touch that, so don't even worry about that one for the duration of this tutorial. And so what we're going to be worried about is this src folder. This stands for source, and this is where we're going to have all of our code. And so we want to create a file here, so simply right click on that, and then you can expand here on new, and then just select Java class. And here it's going to ask you for a name of the class, so simply put test. And so it's going to generate the following file right here. So as you can see, we're in the file test.java. And so here's where we're going to write all of our code. You're going to notice that it auto-generates some syntax here, public class test. For now, just imagine that a class is basically the container for where all of our Java code is going to go, and for where all of our Java code is going to go in a specific file. However, I'll explain more as to what classes mean as we go along in this tutorial. Okay, so now let's write a basic Java program. We want to write a program that just simply prints out hello world. This is a very classic example in computer science. And so we're going to write a main method first. So bear with me here. I'm going to write a lot of words that may not mean anything right now, but we're going to be clarifying what these words mean as we go further into the tutorial. And so let's say public static void main, and then you're going to type in string, these square brackets, and then args. Okay, so this is called our main method, and essentially what this means is that once we run our program, it's going to come into this method right here, and it's going to execute whatever code is inside of this method here. And so if we wanted to get it to print out hello world, we can use the following. So type out system .out .println, and then in here we're going to type in a pair of double quotes. And so these pair of double quotes are necessary because they basically denote that we want to type in some sort of words or some sort of like output, which are later going to be called strings. However, we will get into that later on in the video. And so just type in hello world like this. And so as you can see, right, it recognizes that this is something that we want to type in, that is some sort of like programmer generated input that we want to print out. And so that's why we type it inside of the double quotes to distinguish it from all of this other stuff, which is basically code, which is basically already keywords that are in the Java language itself. And so now click on terminal down here. And this is going to bring up the terminal window. And so simply do javac. And so javac is just going to compile your program, and we can do javac test.java, which is the name of our file, and then hit enter. Oh, it said that, okay, error file not found. Okay, so this is actually good that this happened. We're currently in the tutorial folder, so we're in this folder right here. And so we need to navigate down into the source folder for us to actually be able to access this test file. And so simply do cd source. And so now you're going to see that we are in the source folder here. And now type again javac test.java. And as you can see, this is going to generate a class called test.class. And so test.class is basically the compiled version of our test file. And this is what Java is going to be using to be able to run the code. And so simply type in java test. And as you can see, this is going to print out hello world here as we expected. Another way to do this is you can actually just hit the play button in IntelliJ. And this is going to do this whole process for you, the whole Java process automatically. So let's go ahead and just hit run here. And as you can see, right, we get the same result. We get hello world printed out here into the console. And that's it for this first part. If you enjoyed, please make sure to subscribe and like the video, and definitely follow for more. I'm going to be following up this video, of course, with This was more of like a setup video, but the following videos are actually going to include more material about how to code in Java. So stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.